I'm here with Rami and Nidal. Now, boys, I met you two at the Eels game at Accor Stadium. We were taking photos up in the members deck, and I think you said something to me about the old 87 game, Rami.
Yeah, I know, mate. I know you got hooked off at half-time or before half-time in the semi-final game, and you ended up blowing a fuse and going down to the local pub and having a drink, correct?
I did, yeah, I did. And you said to me, did you go to the Cauliflower Hotel after the game? And I said, no, I was there at half-time. But anyway, so, and Nidal, there was two Rabbitohs in your group and two Eels. And I think, Rami, you're one of the Eels and you're one of the Rabbitohs.
Yes,
so,
that's right, yeah.
So how did that come about, you guys getting up there?
Oh, we just decided, it was a last minute thing, we decided to go watch it because he's a Parramatta supporter, I'm a Bunny supporter. Good chance to go watch it. So we went up there and we met two guys. We never knew, we met them as well. One was wearing a Parra jersey, so we just got to know each other and that, and watched the game together. It was good.
And if I could just add to it, the truth is, let the truth be told. So I called Ned about half an hour before the game.
Yeah,
I only live around the corner from the stadium. So I said, Neds, why don't you come around, we'll go and watch the Rabbits and the Eels. You're a Rabbitohs, I'm an Eels man. He said, no worries. So we only got general entry. And then I went on my social and I said, guys, has anyone got any box tickets that they could give us today, you know? Rami can't go and sit with the commoners anymore. No, only joking. And let the truth be told, we actually snuck into that event.
Oh, yeah. I know, because actually someone said that to me. Well, I actually thought that because it's a members-only event, and I don't think you're a member of the Rabbitohs. So. Anyway, but look, that's what we like. We like forming connections through our photos, and that's where we've got to today. So we're going to talk a little bit about what you two guys do. We'll start with you, Rami. Where are you from, and what was it like growing up there?
Mate, I grew up around Belmore area, so I grew up in the Canterbury area, and everyone around me was a Bulldog supporter, and I wanted to be anti everyone else. I just wanted to be on my own. I wanted to stand out, and by supporting the Eels, I got a chance to stand out. So that's sort of my intro into footy, if you like.
Yeah. Now, I think I heard you saying before, you weren't born in Australia. You come here when you were 10 years old.
Yeah.
And you found rugby league and fell in love.
Absolutely, mate. So I was very fortunate. I moved to Australia when I was 10 years old. I was born here and then we went overseas and I come back when we were 10. So all my young schooling days were done in Lebanon. But anyway, when we moved back to Australia at the age of 10, I met my cousin Nidal. And the first thing he introduced me to, the first thing he ever said to me was, you only speak English around me. And I'm like, Nidal, I can't speak the English in Arabic, you know. But anyway, he was still nice enough to take me to football, to Enfield Federals. Yeah, and we started playing footy, and I tell you what was beautiful about it. Like, you got to think of a 10-year-old boy that doesn't fit in, not going good to school, struggling around his mates, definitely getting bullied. And I found this game of rugby league, and it was able to just give me comfort. I found a home in Australia. So if it wasn't for the game rugby league, I don't know where I would be. And the fact that, you know, even your teammates were forced to be your mates, even if it was for that 40 minutes that you played the game for, you felt part of something, and I think that gave you hope during the week. You still looked forward to training. I probably looked forward to training more than anyone else because I knew I'd be around my mates, you know, and I looked forward to the game. And I would be the guy who would turn up and be there all day because that was probably my only home, the only place I felt welcomed and felt part of something. So that was my journey into rugby league and into the Australian way of life. Yeah.
Well, thanks to your cousin here. We'll pass it over to Nidal. So where are you from and what was it like growing up there?
I'm from the same area, Belmore. I grew up in Belmore. Actually, we lived in the same flat. So he was upstairs, I was downstairs. I was born here, Canterbury Hospital. I was sort of like the same as him. I wanted to be different because everyone was a Bulldog supporter. So he said Eels, so I thought I needed a good team. And one of our friends said, the Rabbitohs have won the most premierships at the time, 20.
Yes, we have.
So I thought, I'm a Rabbitohs supporter from that day. And I've been a Rabbitohs supporter. Grew up in Belmore. Like you said, we played for Enfield Federals together. And like we said, I was born in Australia, so I was sort of like, took him under my wing. And I had a few friends that liked the game of rugby league. And our parents being ethnic, like our parents never watched the game. So we'd go home, it would be boring, but the excitement was rugby league. So every Sunday evening was sort of like a big day for us, big night for us, because it was the game of the week, State Bank big game, or the, you know, Ray Warren or whatever was watching it. So yeah, that was what we used to look forward to: the Tuesday and Thursday training, the Saturday footy where we play, and the Sunday game.
And myself, you and I, Nidal, will sit on around the radio, listening to the game, listening to the commentary.
Ray Hadley.
Sideline night, Tony McGay. Round the grounds.
Yeah, I remember that. And I suppose a highlight would be for you, the Doggies playing the Eels at Belmore, and for you when the Rabbits arrived in town.
Well, actually, when we were growing up in Belmore, it was in the early to mid-80s. So when Parramatta won the grand final, their first one, and they burnt down Cumberland. So there was a game every week at Belmore. So that's we were lucky. So you'd watch the Parramatta Eels every second week at Belmore.
Oh, yeah, right.
And then, like, so it'd be a game every week instead of every fortnight, if you know what I meant. So every week would be at Belmore.
Yeah,
every
there you
week,
go.
Every week.
And you remember me with the old shoulder pads back in the day?
Yeah, the shoulder pads, the speed. I remember you had speed, the shoulder pads, and that dive.
Yeah.
That dive got me. So when I used to play for club footy, I played club footy and school. And even when we played local park, when I used to score a try, run away try, it was always that swan dive. Loved it.
And I was quite happy when you told me that, because you don't realise you have an effect on a young kid, in the western suburbs, inner west, whatever it is, that that it was a positive effect of you're emulating what I did.
Oh, to be honest with you, you were a good player. You were actually a good player.
Thanks,
I looked up to you. I just loved the way you played. You actually played hard. You had speed. The pads were like an icon. Everyone remembered you for the Cauliflower Hotel, but actually I remember you more for the footy, for the speed and that. Yeah.
Thanks, mate.
And it goes without saying, like the footballers who play today and us business people, we forget sometimes how we looked up to and what impact we could have on young people's lives. And I think we got to always keep that in the forefront of our minds.
Yep. So from that photo, we did a little bit of homework, and Rami, it turns out that you're a bit of a media star and you're founder of a restaurant, Rashays. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, mate. I'm very fortunate. Back in 1998, I opened my first restaurant, which was just a cafe and a pizza shop, and it turned out to be very successful. I obviously had a passion for what I did, and the passion drove me to success. That's basically how it all started, and here we are. 24 years later, with over 40 locations around the country, employing over 3,000 staff, and we serve over 5 million customers a year. So, mate, it's been a long, hard journey, but I've loved every single moment of it.
That's awesome. That's a real Aussie success story. Is it true you started out as a pizza boy, a Dougie?
Mate, I was a Dougie in so many ways, but we won't go there now. No, mate, I was a Pizza Hut boy, and my boss, actually, who's my wife now, she was a manager there at Pizza Hut. That's who opened the first restaurant with me.
Oh, there you go. And how did the name come about?
Yeah, so Rashays was born in a place called Moonrise. So for those who are old enough to remember, it's a place up near Abbotsbury, and it overlooked the city. And my wife and I were parked there, we didn't have text back then and phones and all the rest of it. So we parked the car there, and then I said, look, let's open our own restaurant. You know how to make pizzas. I know how to deliver them. So the name comes from my wife and I. It's the name Rashays. So Rami being the first two letters of my name, and Shannon, S-H-A, being her first name.
Cool. So
for my surname.
Yeah, the surname.
There you go.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah,
so
sorry.
just talk about your values that you talk about in your show.
So, mate, look, the values is, we were growing up in a Lebanese household, and we're very hospitable. It's part of our culture. It's seen as rude. We would get a belting if we weren't hospitable. So that made me a very hospitable person. My mum was all about friends and family, and that's what we really, really valued. And that's part of our success today. We still value every staff member as if they're a member of our family. To be quite honest, look, mate, even right now, we got a guy who called in sick because we cook for everyone in head office. We feed everyone at lunchtime, and the guy isn't here today. So I said, look, what are we going to do? How are we going to, just before we did this interview, I said, how are we going to feed everyone today? So that's the values that we sort of hold dear to our hearts.
It sounds like it was a good place to work. You're involved too?
Yeah. I was with him in the first restaurant too. I worked, I was one of the chefs. Yeah, and I've been on board ever since. Yeah.
Okay, so Rami, I heard you say that your uniqueness is your advantage. I quite like that.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Being unique, there's nothing wrong with it. We all try to fit in, and we don't like being, they encourage us to be individuals, but I don't know if it's true sometimes. The fact that I stand out, I'm a bit different, I do what I think or what I feel. It doesn't sit well with a lot of people, but I think that's my advantage, and I'll never change who I am. I am who I am.
Well, we're all individuals. There's only one of us, so you may as well just do the best with that.
Absolutely.
How would you describe the menu at Rashays?
the best way for me to describe it is there's breakfast, there's lunch, there's dinner. We have everything from your chips to your steak to your chicken to your pizza, pasta, dessert, you name it. There you go.
Is there a particularly favourite dish that you could talk about?
Mate, the famous dish is a creamy mushroom sauce. So that's what everyone comes in for. Everyone comes in for that creamy sauce that we have. And we cook it, I don't know, we would use probably 4,000 or 5,000 litres a week of it. So yeah, a lot of creamy mushroom sauce, mate.
You sold me on that. Now, you speak a lot on social media. You have, I think, 34,000 followers on Instagram, and you've got a YouTube channel like us, and the I Am Rami podcast. You enjoy helping people.
Absolutely, mate. Look, that's what life is about. It's about passing on the knowledge. I think that's a huge part of the success of this brand, is that we always like sharing. We like to sharing our knowledge. And it's a shame that some people don't feel like that, because I know the struggle I've had in building this brand, and people don't want to help each other. So that's something that I'm really, really big on, is sharing my knowledge in whatever it is.
So we'll share all the links to your stuff in the notes of this YouTube video. I've almost completed a diploma of social media and marketing. Awesome. What are some tips you can give me as a successful marketer?
I think be yourself. Don't be afraid of stuttering or saying your words or mixing up your words. Just try and pretend you're speaking to your best friend or, your partner all the time. And I think people see through bullshit. So keep it real, keep it straight, and be authentic. Keep it real, keep it straight. And I think that's what people want.
People like that, authentic. People, because most people are the same. So people like different types of people. Like Rami, he's a very ambitious bloke, and if you want something, he wants it done. So you follow your dream. You don't follow what other people are doing. If you want to do something, you just follow it.
Oh, I found that too. So, like where we're speaking here, you just speak like we're having a conversation, and not you don't try and present. You just have a chat, and just be authentic. And because people can see through if you're trying to, make it special.
These days, definitely, because there's a lot of them out there. So
yeah,
it's pretty good.
Well, we'll finish with you're both successful businessmen. What do you like doing besides business and footy? Any other interests you can tell us that people might not know?
Well, we're family men. Well, Rami's got 4 kids. My kids are old now, so we're family men. But we like sports. We just like rugby league. He loves his cricket. Rami played cricket, so we don't mind playing a bit of cricket. So our hobby is mostly just sports and family, to be honest with you, and just work.
Yep.
Yeah.
What about you, Rami? Anything you can reveal to us here?
No, mate, no. I think my cousin covered it well, mate. I'm very much a footy fan, a cricket fan, a sporting nut, even watching, golf. I could watch golf, I could watch tennis, I could watch whatever sport there is on TV. So really, a lot of sport. I'm very, very sports focused. Also, obviously, my family. I've got 4 beautiful kids. I've got 3 daughters, and and they keep you going. And that's sort of my hobby, if you like, is making them put a smile on their face and really taking care of what they're going to do in their future.
Family first. So, boys, I think the Eels and the Bunnies have got maybe a big game coming up in the run to the final. So let's maybe get together for that.
Yeah.
And
100%.
And let's go and have a bit of lunch at one of your restaurants.
100%.
Rami and Nidal, thanks for joining us on Rabbitohs Fan TV.
No worries. Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Thank you.